loves nothing more than like chasing balls into water. So
That's cool.
he has been sleeping since we got him.
I mean, Wags probably die if we did that. Different kind of dog.
Yeah, we had to like force him to take some breaks.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, that's funny.
Programming is sponsored by Thomas Toole III. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the station, its management, or Beasley Media Group.
Good afternoon, Greater Philadelphia area. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Timon. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. There are rumors that there will be a national housing emergency declared. I'm not sure if I buy all this. We're seeing buyers, sellers, and builders are having challenges in the market. We had a local builder weigh in on this, and the middle class is starting to struggle to afford housing. We're going to unpack that next. There was also a list of the best suburbs in Philadelphia. They ranked them all. We're going to talk about that, see if we agree with the list or not. The Mannion Canal is reopening. There's a temporary injunction about the septic cuts. And Rita's Water Ice, this is pretty interesting. This is the first job I had. They're reinventing their brand. We'll break that all down in our second segment here. And we got some great new listings coming to the market as well. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team and Sarah specifically to talk about what kind of housing you can afford and if this national housing emergency is legit or not, you can do that with the link in the comments. So I want to talk about this housing emergency here, or the rumors of this, Sarah. So Secretary Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, told Reuters and the Washington Examiner in two separate interviews yesterday that President Trump may declare a national housing emergency. He described housing costs as an all-hands-on-deck challenge. He also told Reuters that rents were now dropping and that he is expecting an increase in real estate transactions and home sales once interest rates begin to decline. He also said that this national housing emergency may be declared this fall in response to soaring prices and limited supply. Are you buying this, number one?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, yeah, he might declare it,
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to do anything. I mean, is there any like plan in place aside from him just like coming out and publicly stating that he thinks there's an emergency?
That's what was not clear from this interview yesterday.
Because I think he'll come out and say there's an emergency.
I mean, you could argue there's an emergency, but it's because the number of transactions have declined so much. I mean, that's really been if everyone thinks it's like a pricing issue, it has nothing to do with prices. There's not enough supply. There's not enough transactions. That's why real estate's been in a recession, if you will. Now, the interview was kind of limited. Apparently, they're running the full interview today, and there might be some tariff exemptions for certain construction materials. Secretary Bessent said, we're trying to figure out what we can do, and we don't want to step into the business of states, counties, and municipal governments. I think everything is on the table. And since taking office, to give some perspective, President Trump has invoked 9 times he has invoked national emergency powers, including an August crime emergency to confront crime rates in D.C. But I mean, like, what would this do? Like, I don't understand.
Well, I mean, I guess the one that if it does lead to him reducing tariffs for certain construction materials, that actually could have some type of an impact that could be meaningful. Otherwise, him just declaring it, I don't think does anything.
Well, that's my point, and I don't think this is like this isn't like news to me or you. Like, we've known what's been going on here. We talked in depth about affordability last week, so I'm worried this might be more pressure on the Fed to cut rates. I think that might be what this is, because they can't tell the Fed to cut rates, but we know they want the Fed to cut rates coming out of the White House.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it could be. But like, if he's declared 9 so far, I think that sometimes the more you declare, the less impactful a declaration may be, right? Like, so, what weight will it hold by him doing that? I don't know. We know, that they do want rates to come down. They're trying to put like some pressure there. If this is successful, then, okay. But I would think the thing that would be more in his control if he were to come out and like declare this and then want something to come from it besides him just stating it would be the tariffs.
So here's the 9 emergencies. There was a southern border crisis emergency, a national energy emergency, and these were in January when he took office, was to shift military construction funding to support energy-related projects, a drug crisis for Canada, China, and Mexico. That was 3 of them. One of the because they had a opioid public health crisis, particularly fentanyl, the cartels and different things. We don't need to get into all that. A trade deficit emergency, which is where the tariffs come in. The crime emergency in D.C., immigration-related emergency. That was also when he took office, and because of all the illegal aliens in the country. And then an unspecified emergency related to trade or sanctions. So, I mean, a lot of this seems like they were some of these executive orders that got signed at the beginning of his term when I think he signed like 103 of them the first day or something like that. So 9 seems like a lot, but when you look at this, I think it was more just taking action right when he got into office. The only one that happened after February, there was 2, was the crime emergency, the trade deficit emergency, which happened back in April, and that was it. So,
but then will he be declaring another one in Chicago?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there are some emergency situations happening that I think are being taken lightly right now in the U.S., but we're going to talk about housing here. We're going to stick to that. So I just don't know what impact that could have. I mean, because these emergency powers are getting challenged in court. There's been lawsuits filed. I mean, I think he's probably just trying to get some attention on this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some of these challenges that people are seeing right now, because I think this is what this is all related to. And we're also going to talk about how the middle class is having a hard time affording housing. Realtor.com, they had their August 2025 housing report, showed affordability near record lows, with monthly payments on a median priced home up more than $1,200 since 2019. Sellers are retreating, with over 1 in 5 cutting prices. And they mentioned specifically markets like in the Sunbelt states, Miami, Phoenix, Riverside, and builders have slowed. So there's like 3 buckets here of people, right? So buyers are the first one. And because affordability is at record lows, and how it breaks down, because it does cost $1,200 more than it did just 6 years ago, which is a lot. Between 2019 and 2021, the median list price rose 18.6%, but monthly payments only climbed 9.2% because rates were so low. Since 2021, prices are up 16%, while monthly payments have surged nearly 60% as rates moved higher. And from July 2022 to July 2025, mortgage rates jumped from 5.41 to 6.72%. We know they're coming in around 6.5 right now. So, there's kind of a double whammy here. And now there's more inventory and longer days on market have not translated into real affordability improvements. So a lot of buyers are staying sidelined because of rates even coming down to their lowest levels all year. Are you seeing people retreat from the market like this because of affordability concerns?
To some degree. I think I'm seeing, it depends on the buyer. It depends on how specific they are to an area, because when you've got the ability to open up your search area, whether that be by like location or by what you're willing to like take on, gives you more options. It tends to keep people a little bit more motivated and in the game. Versus if you're pretty restricted to what it is that you're looking for, and those homes aren't coming up, then it can be pretty easy to want to pull out. For sellers, I think that they also, for people that need to get rid of the home, if it's been sitting, they may be more or less willing to compromise a little bit. And then you've got others that are like, well, then I'm going to take it off the market.
Yeah, and I mean, buyers kind of got crushed by like the double whammy, right? Because affordability is at record lows. The national median list price is still hovering around 440,000. Now our prices are up here substantially. We're seeing a 6% jump year over year compared to last year, and these higher rates has caused buying power to erode. But then there's also like the cost of home ownership. Like it's more expensive to get landscaping done. Energy costs have gone up a little bit. Any home maintenance,
insurance,
insurance is out of control right now. So I don't. It's not just the mortgage rates, and I think that's where a lot of frustration comes from. And even though there's been this drop, monthly mortgage payments are well above pre-pandemic levels. So until rates ease, I would say even more. I mean, I think they got to get below 6. The buyers are probably going to stay sidelined for the long term. I mean, how do you see rates playing into all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think rates are going to, like, as they come down, and like you may be able to work a couple more deals there, but more people typically come out as the rates go down. And when you factor in all of these other pieces, it's not gonna suddenly make it so much easier. There's still going to be a lot of other factors that are kind of playing into it.
And the concern I have for anyone waiting on rates to come down is it's going to be you and everybody else, right? It's no different than when a sports team gets good and then all of a sudden everybody's buying like their gear. It's going to be the same thing that happens because so many people are on the sidelines right now. So buyers need to be careful and really think about, do they want to maybe take on a higher payment right now if it's affordable for them and wait, or do they want to wait and be competing with everybody else?
Right. And just like looking back, like for our area here, the longer you wait, like everything's continuing to go up. So even if like rates do tick down, then you're competing against more people. But like the cost of everything else, as well as just the cost to get into the home, is slowly ticking up as time goes by. So there is a very real cost to waiting as well.
For sure. I mean, and the people that wait, I mean, unless there's a reason why that is tied to what's going on in their household or their own situation, if they're waiting to try to time the market, it usually doesn't end up going well for them. I mean, sometimes it does, but and for 25 years of doing this, waiting as your strategy, it's strategy. I don't know if it's the right strategy in a lot of cases. So that's kind of the challenge for buyers right now. Now, sellers are in a little bit of a different situation because if buyers are frustrated, sellers, they might be a little more stubborn. And I say this because the least friendly seller summer that we saw was this past summer since Realtor.com began tracking this data in 2016. So that's over 9 years. Active inventory, new listings, time on market, and price cuts all went up. And nationally, we're seeing more than 1 in 5 sellers already reduced their price. Now, we see closer to like 9% where we are. So it's more like 1 out of 10 rather than 1 out of 5. And there's a lot of people pulling their homes off the market. So are you seeing that sellers are becoming a little more stubborn with the market, or maybe they're the last to realize that the market's shifting right now?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the expectations are still that they should be getting more for it. They should be getting they should be getting offers with less contingencies, or they're just looking for something that's cleaner and quicker and more money. And also I've noticed, I think, like an increase in properties that go TO. So maybe they're not quite ready to do the price reduction, or but they're like, I'm pulling it off.
Yeah. And so to get the data behind all this here, just to be very clear, that we've seen days on market, the week ending 8/31. So last week, that particular week, it was at 28 days. That was up 3 days compared to that time last year. Now we're coming off a holiday week, so that's it. August is historically a slower month. In the month of year to date through the month of July, we saw 13 days as the median days on market for the Philadelphia metro area. So you see what happens in August. I think that's actually pretty relevant. The number of homes that saw a price adjustment was 8.6%. That's up 0.7 of a percentage point compared to a year ago. And we saw 440 canceled listings. That was up 14% compared to a year ago. Just last week. This is only last week's data. When you look at what happened through the month of July, because we don't have all the August data yet, that prices on the median are up 6%. So prices are still going up. Sales are pretty flat. Days on market's at 13. It's up 2 days. Now, again, that's the median. It's not the average. I don't like these median stats personally. So we're seeing that the market and month of supply is up by from 2.04 to 2.33. So it's about a 15% jump there without doing the exact math. So we are seeing this stuff's happening locally, just not at as magnified of a level as we're seeing nationally. So for the seller that's a little stuck, right? Maybe they're demotivated. Maybe they're not feeling what the market's doing right now, Sarah. What advice do you have for them?
I think giving them options, letting them know like there are things we can do here, and what is most important to you? What is your timeline? Like what needs to happen for you to be able to do what you need to do next? For some people and for some homes, doing nothing and waiting it out is a strategy that can work for them. Mm-hmm. For others, you don't have that type of time. You don't have that as an option. And then you need to start going through what can you do? And is it just pricing, and looking at that feedback and looking at the number of showings that are going through, and certainly taking into account the fact that like time of year and that August is a little bit slower and that we are just coming off of like a holiday. So, let's not jump to anything too crazy. Sure. Like let's factor all of that in. But at the end of the day, if you need to sell this, what can we do to move the needle?
Yeah. And that's a really great point. You have to be real with the facts. There's a lot of agents, they want to hit the panic button. It's like Labor Day weekend, like nothing's going to change. I mean, that's just, and not that there wasn't, we sold a number of homes over the weekend. That's not the point. Jake Krimmel from Realtor.com, he had an interesting take on this. He said, delisting is a luxury. It's also a sign sellers are not panicking, and the market, despite tepid demand, is far from crashing. And the delisting trend, it can hurt inventory growth just as the market begins to lean more buyer-friendly. I thought that was a very interesting look at this, because taking your home off the market and resetting, that's not going to work for everybody.
Right.
So pending sales, they're down year over year, right? They're pretty much flat where we are. Sellers need clearer data on pricing strategy for sure. Delisting it preserves dignity, but it doesn't move a property. So for the people that are talking about whether they're going to delist, or maybe they're going to make an adjustment based on not selling the home, or maybe changing strategies, what's your advice to those people?
I guess for delisting, like what happens if we delist? Are you going to stay in the home? What if it's somebody who already moved out of the home? Just kind of like walking through what that looks like. And is that an option that benefits them? And then I guess the other, if we're talking price adjustments, that a lot of times comes down to like how many showings we're getting. What is the feedback that's coming through? What is your bottom line? Obviously every seller wants to walk away and have like made money, right? Mm-hmm. That's not always going to be the case for every seller, that you're going to walk away with a ton of money. We need to kind of look at, what can we do? And what does it mean for you to unload this and to move on to the next piece?
Well, and sometimes there's more value to getting the home sold and moving on, because a lot of times these prices, the home's only going to be worth as much as a buyer's willing to pay. Mm-hmm. And if you're not looking at, okay, rates hit their lowest levels all year, that's bringing more buyers back to the market. Now, you might need to give it a little bit of time here. Like today's September 2nd. You might want to like let it breathe a little bit before you start to get a little concerned here, knowing that it's back to school's done. We're kind of past all that. Moving on has value, because there is a thing called cash flow that a lot of people don't realize. When they have another property, they're paying a mortgage on a vacant home. They don't really get how that works. And a lot of agents don't even talk about that. I mean, are you shocked at how little cash flow is taken into account when you're looking at selling these properties and really just making logical decisions?
Yeah, because it certainly, like, there is a cost to carrying a property, whether you're like in it or not. There's also a like if you are needing that home to at least go under contract to make your, like, maybe you've written multiple offers on the buy side and you have not been able to get them accepted because your home you're contingent upon selling yours and you haven't gotten yours under contract yet. Well, how long have you waited for in between these homes to come up that you're writing offers on? Like, what does it mean for you to get into that home? Would it be worth it to maybe secure that home by taking a little less on the sell side of the other one, just to like to get it under contract, so that at that point you're just settlement contingent versus sale and settlement contingent? There's more to it sometimes than just the dollars. So kind of breaking that down. And for some people, it does come down to just the dollars, and that's fine. But just know for the different clients where it is, and kind of helping them realize, because sometimes they may think it's just one thing when really big picture, it could be something else. So, just figuring out really what is the situation.
Yeah. And I really it's, what's your game plan here, right? Like the whole goal of making a move, and sellers, they either don't want the house anymore, or they want the money. Like that's really what it is. But if your goal is to complete a move, that's a different situation than, hey, we're trying to cash out high on our property. So that's really what you want to look at if you feel like you're in one of these situations where you feel like you're not getting the right activity. And if the only strategy the agent's using is, I've got it on the internet, I got to sign up and I'm waiting for people to show up. Like, there's got to be a plan here to drive traffic through, because if they don't have that kind of plan in place and there's not a specific strategy, that may be the reason why your property's not selling. I mean, there's countless times where we've come in as a listing agent where we do all the things we normally do, and the home sells right at the same asking price that it didn't sell for 70, 80, 90 days, which is pretty wild. So let's talk about the builders here. So builders are facing what Jake Krimmel, who wrote this article for Realtor.com, calls a three-headed monster: low buyer demand, high financing, and tariffs on materials. Now, the buyer demand is going to vary market to market. I don't see low buyer. Do you see low buyer demand here?
Not really.
But nationally, yes. I think it's especially where they're building a lot of these houses, which is part of the issue. So just to give some perspective, since 2022, single-family home starts are down 10%. New homes under construction are down 15%. The number of homes sold but not yet started hit an all-time high in June, up 19% year over year and 22% since 2022. So when you look at this here, I think the tariffs are something that's really going to affect builders. I mean, that's pretty fair to say. These other things here, I don't think it's much different than what sellers are facing right now. I mean, high financing costs and low buyer demand. I mean, obviously the tariffs are different, but some of these builders may need to start maybe coming down on their prices or offering some different financing packages. I mean, what's your observation on this here?
Yeah, I mean, I do, like, a lot of times, like, different builders, you will see advertise that they have different financing solutions that they can kind of offer. So, I mean, I think that certainly could be a way to get around one of the heads of the monster.
Yes, right.
But, also I think in our area anyway, a majority of what is being built is all luxury. So I think, you could open it up to some other development, and that could certainly bring in a whole different pool of people.
I agree there that part of the challenge is that in the Northeast is that, like, the average new construction sale price in the suburban counties is north of $800,000. So the median income in Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia metros, like around 87,000. So you get two people making that. I mean, that's like really at the top of their budget, like right off the bat. So that the key here is you got to look at the local dynamics and don't buy some of these national headlines. A lot of places where they're building a ton is where they're having these issues. Philadelphia was identified as one of the places with the least amount of land to build on in the entire country. So, looking at all this here, there's a local builder that actually brought up something in Montgomery County. So I want to kind of talk about this. So it was Andrew Kay, the former president of the Home Builders Association of Montgomery County. He now leads a residential development company operating in the 5-county Philly area. And in the Philadelphia Business Journal, he said the cost to buy ground is bigger, the cost to develop ground is bigger, the cost to build a house is bigger, and the for sale price is bigger. So people are getting locked out and they're moving to areas where housing attainability is easier. And he used it as an example that in New Jersey, his company can sell houses in the same town for 40% more than it could 4 years ago because there's such a strong demand for this. And there's areas throughout Montgomery, Bucks County, they have the same situation. They can sell a house for 30% more than what it sold for a few years ago, and nobody's blinking an eye. So I think this really demonstrates we're seeing the exact opposite happen here locally versus the national headlines that kind of dominate sometimes.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, and that's where leads us to the middle class, really struggling to afford housing. And if you look at this Housing Wire article that came out today, there was a study called "Priced Out When a Good Job Isn't Enough," which is exactly what we discussed yesterday, or not yesterday, last week. That there was an analysis of 390 metropolitan areas found that nearly 1/3 of people now require double the income needed just 6 years ago to purchase a home. So in 1/3 of the 390 metro areas, you need to have double the income than you did 6 years ago.
Wow.
Is that number pretty wild to you?
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I'm just thinking through the numbers right now. I mean, that's huge. Like if 1/3 of the people need double the amount that they needed 6 years ago. I mean, that's hard. That's going to really make things tight. Because there's no way that people are making most people aren't making double.
I mean, very few. I mean, rarely do you make double. I mean, even if you're a business owner and you're up like 15% year over year on your profits, like you're doing really well. Like that's great. So, and they highlighted some different metro case studies where, like in Seattle, like this number's insane. Not a single tract occupation could buy a home in 2024, including dentists earning more than $200,000 a year. Only 50 out of 285 occupations can afford a 2-bedroom rental.
Oh my God.
I mean, I just wouldn't move to Seattle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that anyway. But in Houston, out of 286 tract occupations, only 28 can afford to purchase a home with a 10% down payment. And like order clerks and customer service reps can't afford a 1-bedroom rental. So there's this affordability cost is real. Now, again, I think you have to be mindful of, I think this is where the first-time home buyers really get shut out more than anything else. I mean, if you own a home, you're in a much better spot than if you're not.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe this is why there's this talk of the emergency.
Right. Well, so yeah, if people aren't even able to afford to rent, then yeah, that's where they live in.
I mean, that I think that's the question here. I mean, this is part of the problem is that there's all this kind of affordability challenges that people don't even realize. So it's this is going to be something we need to track, and this is probably why I mean the president can't just magically wave a wand and the rates come down, but this is likely why he's calling for a housing emergency crisis, or they're saying that I mean, it's an issue and it doesn't get talked about enough. And now it's really come to the forefront, but we're like, way too late to the game here. Like no one was complaining when the prices were jumping up 10% year over year. But now all of a sudden we've got these issues and rates haven't come down. Maybe it does make sense for some sort of emergency to be held. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what the answer is here. I mean, lower rates will help, but that's not, you can't bring them so low that everyone gets back into the market because then we got a bigger problem.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about some of this local news here, the best suburbs in Philadelphia, the Manayunk Canal. We'll break it all down next on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
You have to deal with all the red tape when getting your mortgage from a big online bank. At Mortgage America, we have access to big bank money, but with the personalized and detailed service of a local bank. We are here in your community and ready to serve with fast settlements, low down payment options.
Is Heather Lane having did we say no for open house?
Is free. No cost.
I don't know. Do we need someone on?
More information.
I don't know, because I had a couple, I got a call or two today, and it wasn't on the MLS in the coming, like it didn't say anything about an upcoming open house. So I was like, and then I couldn't.
I don't think we have one. I don't think we. Did she want one? Is she gonna be out of there?
We closed on her place on Friday, and she's moving this week. But I don't know if it would be. I just can't remember where they land. I feel like these.
I don't know if we put it in there either. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that we did either. I think they were okay with it.
Back in 15 seconds. Mexico. Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit TomToole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line.
All right. Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Timon. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we're going to be talking about the best suburbs in Philadelphia. I'm going to see if you'll agree with this list. We're just going to run down. They put the top 25, which is a lot to go through. The Manayunk Canal's reopening, and we also have a temporary injunction on septic cuts, and Rita's Water Rights reinventing their brand. A lot of local stuff here, and we got 3 great new listings we're going to wrap with. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team about how you can buy a home or sell a home in one of these best suburbs, you can connect with Sarah directly with the link in the comments. So let's talk about this list. So it was from a website called Stacker, and it's they go through they came up with this list of the best suburbs. So they use data from niche.com to examine the best suburbs in Philadelphia. They rank them based on diversity, the cost of living, the share of population with college degrees, quality of schools and housing. So wide variety of rankings here. And the list started with, you want to start at the bottom or the top?
Maybe I'm working, like they started it with 25. I'm working my way down.
25 is very high. All right, let's go to number 1. So number 1, Chesterbrook, Pennsylvania. I don't even know if this is a suburb. This is part of a suburb, if you ask me. I think this is where this gets a little dicey. Now, they have some very affordable homes in Chesterbrook. I think that makes sense if you want to get into Tredeff and Easttown schools. But then they have like top private schools. You know, Berwyn was number 25 on the list. Mm-hmm. They're like 3 minutes from each other.
Right.
This is, I think, the problem with this thing. So what do you think about Chesterbrook or Tredeff and Easttown in general? Median home values $406,000. Median rentals $25.54. But then they're citing like the Westtown school as like a top private school nearby. That's a good 30 minutes away.
Right. Well, Chesterbrook came up last year too, didn't it? As like a number 1. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going off of like the school district that you're able to get into and the median home value, cool. I don't know that I would put this as number 1, but I think it makes sense that it's on a list.
I mean, I think you could say like all of like, Pennsylvania's weird because you have these like townships, right? Well, Lower Merion Township's got like 8 different towns in it. And, I mean, you live in Tredeff and Easttown School. I mean, to me, like that's like the area, not so much because that's the local government, right? Because all these zip codes are they're there for postal delivery services. I do like Tredeff and Easttown is one of the top ones for sure. Number 2 is Ardmore, Pennsylvania. Now, Ardmore is interesting because they listed all the top schools, but half of Ardmore is in Haverford Township, and the other half is in Lower Merion. Mm-hmm. So they don't even know what they're talking about here. And I think this is why it's really important having a local agent. I used to live in Ardmore. It was a great place to live. We lived there a long time. We moved across the school district because we need a little more space. But the only schools they list are the ones in Lower Merion, but half of Ardmore is in Haverford School District. So I think this is the problem with this thing.
Yeah.
And how do they give a weather grade for all these places? Like, what's the difference between, like, they have B- for Ardmore, right? And then C+ for Chesterbrook. Like, is the weather that different?
Right. I wasn't aware of that. That's funny.
Like outdoor activities. I mean, I would say Chesterbrook's probably a little better because you're right by Valley Forge Park, but like, I don't know. So I mean, Ardmore's a great place. And then they have Penwyn is number 3. Penwyn is right next to Ardmore.
Yeah.
This is what I think this list is garbage, Sarah. I don't know. Do we want to keep going through this here? Number 4 was Swarthmore. What do you think about Swarthmore? That would really be like number 3, I guess, is what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Let's see here. Median home value. I don't know that these home values are like making sense to me.
Well, they're the median. So the median is a nonsense number because there's so few homes that sell in some of these areas. It just happens to be the middle one.
Yeah.
And they also have like condos in Swarthmore.
Right.
And part of Swarthmore is in Ridley School District. Other parts in Wallingford, like this is what I'm talking about. Like I don't like the way they listed this because it can be very misleading for people.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that I love this list.
5 is Devon, right? So that's back in Tredyffrin. So we're talking about the same area. 6 is Rose Valley, which is part of Wallingford Swarthmore Schools. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the same one. 7's Conshohockins. This is something a little different here. Yeah. I like Conshohocken on the list because it's got more of a downtown feel than any of these other places.
Yep.
The weather grade. The weather grade. Then you got Jenkintown, number 8. See, now it's getting a little more diverse here. Number 9, Nether Providence. You could lump that in with Swarthmore. Now, there is a difference between Swarthmore Borough and Nether Providence, for sure. I think anyone that lives there will tell you that. That's in the same school district. What do we got? Number 10 is Paoli. Now, again, that's another one where half's in Great Valley and half of it's in, not half, but part of it's in Great Valley, part of it's in Tredyffrin Easttown. Mm-hmm. They seem to really like Tredyffrin Easttown here. That's Upper Euclid. That's like Chester Springs, Downingtown area. That's on the list. East Marlboro, that's down in Kennett Square. King of Prussia, another good one. You know, I just don't think naming the towns is the right strategy here.
Right.
And if I'm looking at these, trying to make a real estate decision, I'm talking to someone who actually understands all this because there's a lot of bad information here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kind of like scrolling through here. There's some that are further down the list that I would have thought would have been up higher and vice versa here. Like Narberth is number 21. I kind of thought that would have been a little bit higher on the list.
Well, Narberth's another one where it's that should be separate because that's a borough. It's a different government there. You know, that's like that kind of reminds me of more of like a media borough or, you know, somewhere like that. So just be careful with these lists. That was the real reason I wanted to go over this. Like the weather grade is one of the silliest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
I mean, it's just not nonsensical. So, and I'm surprised Radnor Township is ranked number 20, which is insane to me. I think Wayne should probably be really high on the list. You know, they got some other great places here, but this list we're going to call it garbage. Is that okay with you, Sarah?
Yep.
Let's talk about SEPTA real quickly before we get into some of this other stuff. So this happened over the weekend. Prices are not going up as planned for now because there was a court order on Friday. So if you look at what happened with this, and you haven't been following this, basically SEPTA was going to raise prices. They're going to cut lines. And now the current service reductions are going to remain in place. There's reduced service to the regional rail, which they had this hearing. So there was a temporary injunction granted on Friday during an emergency hearing, and the 21.5% fare increase and reduction set for this week are on hold. Now, the ones that already happened are going to stay in place. And SEPTA is still waiting on clarification here from this emergency order. I mean, the suit claims that there was also a lawsuit filed earlier in the week by attorney George Pachetto. He said the financial crisis is fabricated and argues the cuts unlawfully place a disproportionate burden on communities of color and low-income residents. Do you think there's any merit to that? I mean, I do think some of these people do rely on SEPTA to get around, which is tough. I mean, we heard a lot of bad stories, horror stories about this.
Yeah, I haven't looked at any of the like maps to see. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there certainly could be.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think there is some merit to this. The Eagles have their home opener on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. And they told fans, if you're not going to the game, don't come down to the stadium.
Oh,
because it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken, did we talk about this last week? Have you ever taken SEPTA back and forth to a game?
Yeah, I mean, not a ton, but I have.
Yeah, and when you get out of there, it's you're waiting for a while, and there's going to be a lot less trains there. So the Eagles are very cognizant of it. I think it's going to be a disaster down there.
Right. It's going to be a mess. I mean, they're going to have to figure something out.
I'm glad I'm not going to the game. I'll tell you that. So, I mean, you know, SEPTA apologized for the inconvenience. When they talked about the fare increase that's now on pause. They did mention some customers may have been overcharged and $2.90 instead of $2.50 while tapping their key cards and using other forms of contactless payment. They're trying to issue refunds. They don't want them to think they're okay with them paying more than everybody else. Regional rail cuts are on pause that were supposed to happen today. So, I mean, I'm glad there's something happening here. This just doesn't look like a long-term solution.
Well, I think, unfortunately, it was always going to be a thing where they were going to have to let things get messy and like really interrupt like the day-to-day of a lot of people's lives before they'd kind of like try to come up with a more reasonable solution.
Listen to the stats, Sarah. The school district says the cuts that happened last week during the first week of school, this is the city of Philadelphia, led to a 54% increase in student absences and even more late arrivals. 54%. Like, people just aren't going to school.
Yeah, that's terrible.
This is a problem. I mean, right. There's got to be some sort of solution here. A lot of people are like begging to approve funding. Obviously, I think there's questions here about like, how does it get funded? How was SEPTA able to operate and now all the funding's gone? I mean, This is a classic where'd the money go with the government. So I'm glad a judge got involved, but I hope there's got to be some sort of action taken here.
Yeah, you can't have. I mean, that's awful with the
54%.
Right. Well, because I mean, also it would be probably from it would play in both for like kids being able to get to school, but then if parents have to like leave way earlier to like get to jobs because of needing to like factor in additional stops or the normal time that they would go, they can't, and like it all plays in.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. I think it's a real problem. So we're going to keep monitoring the story. It's something we're going to have to kind of watch here. The last thing I want to hit on, we should have time for both of these. So the Mannion Canal is reopening. So the Mannion Canal, it was closed to the river for 85 years, and it's a $20 million project on the 200-year-old waterway, making the Flat Rock Dam like kind of like another place like people can kind of walk to. Like you got all the trails back there and stuff. The river flows into the canal. People are thinking it's going to be like a seasonal draw for Manayunk. They were also wanted to rid the canal of like buildup of sediment and improve water quality downstream in the river, where it intakes for the Belmont and Queen Lane water treatment plants, and that's about 30% of the city's drinking water. So, I mean, glad I'm not drinking Philadelphia water, knowing that that's the case. But and it's also going to benefit wildlife and expanding the ecosystem. I didn't even know this was closed. To be pretty clear, I mean, what do you think of this kind of project here?
Wait, so where this is at?
So the Flat Rock Dam, it's it's literally like right, and there's like graffiti on it, of course. So it's right off the Schuylkill here. Like it's actually not too far from where we are right now. So it's and apparently it's part of the Schuylkill Navigation, the 108-mile network of dams that ran from Port Carbon in Schuylkill County all the way to Philadelphia.
And so it's an area that's just been kind of like abandoned and let go for, I mean, I think that, revigorating and bringing some life back to something. And if it's going to increase water quality, I don't see how that could be bad. But it's just like, it's hard to like where funding for all of these different things.
We can't run SEPTA. But we can do this.
That's what I was going to say. Like, what's more important right now? I would think that like SEPTA would be.
Well, I think this is the problem with a lot of these local government projects. Like these things get buried somewhere. No, I didn't know about any of this. I'm sure you didn't either. And this is you got the Philadelphia Parks and Rec Department, the State Department of Environmental Protection, the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission. They're all partners on this project. So those are these government organizations, but we can't get SEPTA to run. So I think that's the problem that I have with a lot of this. This is why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's sometimes it's just this like common sense piece that like isn't there, So just kind of trying to like tackle like what more urgently do we need right now, and not that you want to like sweep these other things under the rug. You have to keep up with all of this kind of stuff to, just keep the area, but. Hearing about this right after talking about SEPTA, like immediately my mind just goes to like, maybe we should figure out SEPTA.
There was a park they were trying to build where we, my wife Bridget and I used to live a long time ago. It's between Spring Garden and like Vine, like around like 12th Street. They call it like the Reading like Viaduct. They were trying to get this thing funded for years, and now nobody goes there. And it's like this elevated train track. So I think it's exactly what you're talking about here. It's like, why is that a priority? Why don't we make sure SEPTA can run first? So before we get into these new listings, I think you're going to like this story, Sarah. So Rita's Water Ice. I'm a big proponent of Rita's. That was the first job I ever had. So there's a new owner, and they plan to open 40 shops in 2025 and expand to 800 locations across the country over the next 5 years. They're doing something a little different. They're creating limited edition mango and black cherry flavored vodkas in partnership with Bird Gang Sports, and they're going to have drive-thrus. What do you think about this?
Interesting. Okay, cool. So they're going to start having, would it be in like the little, what do they call them? Not like the smoothie drinks, but like they're going to like mix it into their beverages, or no, they're just
this
making
is a vodka. And if you've seen the Bird Gang, they have like a bourbon. It's got like an Eagles logo on it.
Yeah.
I have an autographed Fred Barnett one sitting in my dining room that I'm never going to drink. But they also had that beer that came out. It was like in the Chamonix Creek brewing, where it was inspired by all the Water Ice flavors. I think this is pretty smart. I think you're going to get a lot of people buying this stuff because of the brand recognition.
I bet they're all going to be really sweet, and you're going to get a lot of high school kids.
It's like Mad Dog 2020.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's kind of I doubt it's something that people would be like continuing to buy over and over again as like a staple of their cocktail shelf.
Well, I agree with you there. I mean, flavored vodkas, usually you're using that for like mixed drinks and like fun
I think
stuff.
they'd be better off, and now this would probably be harder to figure out, but starting to sell boozy drinks at Rita's.
that would be wild. For the first time, this happened to me last week. I went to a Wawa that had alcohol. I'd never been to one before. And it was right off Lancaster Avenue, like between Exton and Malvern.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it was a whole section. Like, I was really surprised. Have you been to one of these places before?
Yeah.
It was the first time I saw one. And I think Pennsylvania's so antiquated with that, because you went to school outside of Pennsylvania. So did I. First time I went to New York, and I'm like, wait, you can buy beer in the grocery? It like blew my mind. Like it was wild to me.
You could buy like beer and stuff like everywhere, like CVS,
especially down south. Yeah, down south's a lot different.
Yeah.
So I think this is a smart move for Rita's, because Water Ice. If you look at their product line, they've constantly evolved it. Now Rita's are all franchised, so I'm wondering if they're going to have to sell that or not. And they're looking to expand in the South and Midwest. I think it's a smart move. They're going to have drive-thrus. I like this for the company, because you got to evolve as a company. This stuff's expensive with leases and construction costs, and they have to build the store certain ways. So I think it's a good move for Rita's.
Yeah, I think they should start selling booze at their locations.
Well, I'm sure, and maybe the idea is like, hey, they have like their own recipes and like pour this into here. That would require like a liquor. I think it gets a little
it would get
different,
complicated,
right?
Yeah.
So, but it's a good start. All right, we got 3 great new listings hitting the market. Maybe a 4th. We're waiting on not some paperwork, but some logistics to get worked out. So the first one here, Sarah, I'm going to let you talk about this one on Heather Lane in Westchester. This is a winner of a listing. You want to explain this property?
Yep. So this one is going to hit the market on Friday. It's being listed at $750,000, 4-bed, 2.5 bath. Again, 1406 Heather Lane in Westchester. We've got a little over 2,000 square feet. It is in a great neighborhood, really great property, awesome yard, and it's got a huge detached garage.
The garage is pretty wild.
Yeah, you could have like a workshop in there. You could use that for a lot of different things besides just parking your car.
Yeah, this is like exactly what I think a lot of people are looking for in Westchester. It's in East Goshen. Right now we're showing it by appointment, so you can click on the link here if you want to get in there. Sarah can arrange that for you. This is a great looking property. That garage though is wild. That thing is huge. For the right person who needs that, I think that's such a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the next home here that's coming to the market is a single-family home in Downingtown on Culbertson Run Road. It's number 127. It's in West Brandywine Township. It's a 3-bed, 1.5 bath, 1,500 square foot rancher. Everyone is looking for ranchers right now. They all want 1-story living, especially a lot of people downsizing. It's got 7/10 of an acre. This place it's got a detached garage, 1-story living. You're right off 322, really convenient location. and that's coming to the market at $399,900. There's going to be a couple open houses this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, both from 12 to 2. This is another great listing, really affordable too. I mean, I don't know where you're able to get a single family home for under $400,000 with that kind of acreage. So that's 127 Culbertson Run Road in Downingtown.
Yep. And then the other one that we've got coming up here is in Royersford, 149 Robata Boulevard. This is a interior townhouse, 3-bed, 1.5 bath, 1,400 square feet. And it's listed at $325. This one also, again, hitting the market on Friday with an open house on Saturday from 11 to 1.
That's a nice one, and I think that Royersford is one of these areas where, like, I've been to Royersford, like, obviously for work, and they've had a ton of development out there. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on. Remarkably, the one we were talking about that we weren't sure if it was going to come to the market, we just got all the we're good to go. So it's coming this Friday. It's 80 West Sharpnack, and that's in Mount Airy. This is an incredible twin, fully rehabbed. It's about 2,800 square feet all in. They're going to be asking $575. We're working on scheduling some open houses now, but you can view the rest of these by appointment here. And this is it's a full rehab, new kitchen, open floor plan. It's got a full primary suite on the 3rd floor, finished basement with a full bathroom. That's 80 West Sharpnack in Mount Airy. Great listing, and one you'll definitely want to check out. So we got some killer stuff coming to the market this week. There's also an open house we got a couple open houses. We've got 406 Brighton. That's an incredible home in, you and I caught something here over the weekend. So we weren't even hanging out in the same place, but who knows? It was a little chilly. So 406 Brighton in Devon. This is priced at $1.35 million. That's going to be open Sunday from 11 to 1. This has a 1st floor bedroom, big finished basement, backs up the Jenkins Arboretum, and it's got an association that takes care of all the exterior maintenance, so it makes it a lot easier. And we've also got one at 212 Claremont. That's going to be open Sunday from 11 to 1. And that's priced at $784,900. It's got 4 bedrooms, 1st floor, master bedroom, main suite. Then we got 360 Amos Land Road. That's open Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m. All great opportunities to get in. So, Sarah, I can see you for a few months here.
I know. Baby's coming.
Well, we wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I don't need to get into I'm sure we'll be talking. But Sarah will be back. I think January is the target, is kind of the game plan. So we're going to have some guest hosts from the team on. We're going to miss you, obviously. Wish you nothing but health for you and your new son here. And hopefully it's a quick delivery as well. I think that's what everyone hopes for, right? So
that's the hope.
Well, I'm hoping for that. So nothing but the best to you and Eric and baby Hogue here.
Yep.
So that's all we got this week. We'll be back next week. We'll see who's sitting in this chair. Thanks for tuning in to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.